Dumb Moreau. I don't know if it's the sound of the snow crunching beneath my feet, or the prospect of an up-and-coming gnome slaughter. Whatever it is, I just love this zone. After I'd finished picking up all the quests in and around Koranos, my quest log was looking a lot better than it was in Elwyn Forest. Level 8 to 10 was fairly uneventful. First up was grabbing rumble shots ammo, which, as you can imagine, pretty straightforward. I managed to pull one too many Wendigos, but that was just a little bit of fun. Had a lot more confidence, of course, now that we've got Hamstring. Got my skinning to level 69.
High five!
Such a fucking child. Ding level 9, and then it was time to go and save McGrand's dried meats. This quest is actually really easy to solo as a warrior, especially once you've got Hamstring. All you need to do is essentially just charge him to help generate a little bit of rage, slow him with Hamstring, and then run towards the entrance of the cave. Jump up these rocks here, so you're now essentially on top of the entrance of the cave. Wait for old Icebeard to walk around and then join you on top of the cave. Start spamming Hamstring to refresh the slow as soon as possible, and then jump down and you'll have plenty of time to grab the meat. Hand in the questing gave me a lovely 900 XP and a pretty decent bracer upgrade. Then I ran all the way west to the Frostmane Hold. I managed to get my first weapon upgrade in what feels like fucking ages, and it made me think maybe the reason I was struggling so much with those prowlers in the previous episode is because I was using a level 4 grey axe. I hit level 10 while slaughtering a gnome. God damn, that felt good. And then 2 minutes later I actually got another weapon upgrade, and this was my first green item. Seeing as warriors are so gear dependent as well, this was just perfect. And now that I'm level 10, it's definitely time to get the warrior quest done. Up until now, the only ability that I've really had to use any of my rage is Rend, which doesn't really do a huge amount of damage, and also Heroic Strike. And each time you use Heroic Strike, it waits until your next auto attack to trigger, which means it uses your auto attack, which means you don't generate rage from that attack. Essentially just massively reducing the amount of rage that you're generating overall during a fight. After doing the level 10 warrior quest, we'll get defensive stance, and we'll also unlock Sunder Armor. Sunder Armor is a really decent ability. If I remember correctly, it only costs 15 rage and it's instant, and it basically just increases the damage of all of your auto attacks. So I made the long ass trek back to Ironforge and picked up the quest. For this quest I'm gonna have to run all the bloody way back west towards the Frostmane Hold, but my Hearthstone isn't on cooldown, so we can just use that later to get back. I began the slow ass walk back over to West Dunmoreau, getting attacked by what felt like every wolf and bear in the zone. Really can't wait for that level 40 mount, but I did at least get some XP and some skinning done on the way, and then it was time for Vedrak. The fight was fairly uneventful as you'd expect. I did throw some marbles in his face, which really pissed him off as he switched to defensive stance, but I smacked him one more time and then he died. I picked up the quest item and then it was time to half back to Ironforge, but then... Fuck's sake! I'm not even that annoyed, it just feels like a massive waste of time. I really thought I could make it to level 60 without any stupid mistakes. As I lay there in the snow, frustrated I'd made such a simple mistake. I realised I forgot to set my fucking Hearthstone, but I wasn't going to let that get me down. So I stopped laying there sulking in the snow and jumped back to my feet. Surely if I could recover from this, I could recover from anything. Oh, that corpse in the snow? Tassaran? Well, fuck knows who that is. After a long and totally unnecessary walk, I arrived at Ironforge. I headed over to Murin Stormpike to hand in the quest, and picked up defensive stance, Sunder Armor, and Taunt, and also got 1.1k experience, which at this level is pretty huge. I made myself a cheeky start attack macro for Sunder Armor, which I do for basically all of my abilities. It just makes it so much easier when a mob dies and you automatically switch target. You don't have to then right click or click auto attack. If you don't have enough rage for an ability, but you're spamming that ability, it won't start your auto attack until you've got enough rage. So it's just a quality of life improvement in my opinion. I also realised that at no point have I spoken about talents and what the plan is, so might as well just go over that now quickly. I'm going arms. Yeah, I could talk about talents for hours, and I really can't be bothered, so let's just get back onto questing. So I headed out of Ironforge, but to set my Hearthstone first. I headed over to Shimmer Ridge to collect 6 Shimmerweed. After charging a troll, he called me a no dead $ J. These trolls are fucking higher, man. But not to worry, with my shield securely fastened to my back, I headed over to Vagash. I asked in general chat if anyone wanted to do Protecting the Herd, and within seconds I got a response. You alright guys, the community does look pretty active. I waited at the top of the hill to greet my new dwarf friend. He ran straight past me. I went to ask the dwarf if he was ready, but this dwarf waits for no man. I started with a charge, but was almost immediately stunned for 3 seconds. as I struggled to generate any decent amount of rage. Thankfully, the hunter and his pet were able to deal quite a lot of damage. It's only now as I watch this back I realise how close the bear got to dying. If a hunter pet dies in hardcore, can you resurrect it? Quest handed in for 900 experience. And then it was time for a quick near-death experience. I was having a good time killing this trog until these two dickheads decided to join in. I thought I'd give it a shot, see if I could take them both, but seeing as I was getting slapped and they weren't, I thought now would be a pretty good time to fucking run. I chucked hamstring on one of them but decided to stop to try and hamstring the other before I ran away from them both, but got knocked to the floor with a 2-second stun. I just about managed to pop a potion in time and get away, but fuck me, that was close. I arrived at Ironband's compound and it was time to start making my way in. Honestly, this was pretty easy. There was another rogue here for some reason that was just helping me kill everything, so I managed to run in, get the ore, job done. And then it was back to Ironforge for a weapon upgrade. Nice. I also went and grabbed heavy linen bandages, as I'll definitely be using that later. And I also grabbed thrown weapon training, as being able to range pull in certain situations is going to be really handy. So looking at my quest log now, there's a bunch of quests that I want to get done in Elwyn Forest. So I'm probably going to head there now, and we'll probably just leave Dunmorrow. I got sniffed by Ragnar the Hunter. What the fuck are you doing? I thought I'd go and see if we could do the level 10 warrior quest in Stormwind, even after doing the level 10 warrior quest in Ironforge. And yeah, it still works. So I handed that in and looks like we're going to get another weapon upgrade. Although of course it's just going to be an equivalent of what I've already got. Not only did I need to learn my level 12 abilities, I also needed to learn my level 10 abilities because I completely forgot about that. So that completely rinsed me. I arrived in Goldshire and remembered to set my Hearthstone, and then headed south to the McClure Vineyards. I gave Mabel an instant death potion which caused her to evaporate into thin air. I think that's the potion she asked for.
There were no witnesses, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
I thought now would be a good time to test out the new axe, which honestly fucking slaps. But as the bear dodged my attack, I noticed I didn't get an overpower notification. I don't know why, but every now and then something is turning off my floating combat text. Does this happen to anyone else? Or is it just me? Up next, it was time to fight Princess. Feeling confident with my new axe, I opened on Princess with a charge. I hit all three of them with a thunderclap to reduce their attack speed. This paladin ran past and slapped one of the boars, took aggro, which I thought, great, now it's just a 1v2. But he carried on running away and eventually just lost aggro of the boar, which meant I got charged by the boar. A boar's charge hits really fucking hard, so I panicked and used the potion, but the charge ran out just before it hit me. So that was Princess dead, on to the next. I had one prowler left to kill, and it seemed only fitting that I go back to the prowler that absolutely whipped my ass in the first episode. And as you can see, this time round, it was a much easier fight. It was time for the warrior quest, which I really could have done with picking up a thrown weapon, seeing as the mobs here are so tightly packed. I was supposed to grab one in Goldshire, but obviously completely forgot. So I had no choice but to body pull one of the Defias bandits, which meant I also pulled the rare Thoros Lightfingers. And then a few seconds later, also aggroed a prowler. Wasn't a huge issue though. I ended up using a potion and a bag of marbles, but ended up killing all three of them. I killed Dead Tooth Jack for the warrior quest, took the key, got Marshall Haggard's badge back, handed in the quest and got another green weapon. Obviously it wasn't an upgrade, but still experience and a little bit of silver. I then realised that there's actually a general and trade supplies vendor right next to Marshall Haggard, so I got my thrown weapons. It was then time to go back to the Brackwell pumpkin patch to get the rest of the red linen bandanas. While trying to focus on fighting a couple of Defias bandits and not dying, I thought to myself, do you know what would be really good right now? Another guild invite. Oh, and another Defias bandit. I didn't really have a look at the guild. If I need to group up for something later, I think I'm just going to stick to using general chat, and yeah, I had to run from that fight. After I'd finished collecting the bandanas, I headed back to Sarah, and she gave me a red linen shirt. Honestly, I just put it on to replace the recruit shirt. Doesn't look too bad. I then leveled up by discovering a new area, which must be one of the best feelings in WoW. Anyway, now that I'm level 13, I think it's probably a good time to move on to one of the level 10 to 20 zones. I do try and leave it as late as possible. It feels like you've got a really nice head start when you go to a 10 to 20 zone at level 13. But before I do move on, I really want to kill Hogger first. Mainly just for fun, but also check out that reward. I think it's going to replace my only grey item left, so yeah, it has to be done really. The plan was to try and see if I could do it solo, but this priest needed Hogger, so I'm not really going to say no to that. Anyway, let's fuck up Hogger. I opened the fight with a charge and landed a rend. As I threw a bag of marbles in Hogger's face, he pretended I didn't exist and went straight for the priest. 2-second stun. That's not good. Not to worry though, I slapped him with an overpower and took back the aggro. And then I just spammed Sunder Armor and he died. You know, the more I do that, the harder I realise it is to make a WoW fight seem dramatic. Hopefully later on in the game, like during Dead Mines, it will look a little bit better. And then it was back to Goldshire to hand in the quest, and would you look at those pants. +3 strength. And with Hogger out the way, I think it's time for another cinematic as I travel to Westfall. And we're there. As soon as you arrive in Westfall, there's a few quests you can pick up from Werner and Farmer Furbrel. Didn't fancy giving the poor man a name, no. And once I finished running around Westfall picking up all the quests, the quest log was looking pretty good. And the map with all those quest objectives was just such a beautiful sight. So yeah, I'll see you guys in part 3.